Hey marketers, welcome to the Marketers podcast. Across the next 10 episodes, we're talking work permits from all angles, chatting with guests from both local and immigrants background. You hear inspiring stories from marketing professionals, CEOs, recruiters, and much more. Today, we will meet Kevin Dowling, a strategic coach specialized in multilingual entrepreneurs and service providers. With a background in education, Kevin brings a health of knowledge to the table. Get ready to dive into some unavailable LinkedIn tips and career success strategies. I'm Camila Odilon, your host and founder of Marketing Island Community, helping immigrants, marketers, and students succeed in their career. The sponsor of this episode is Astro Park. Astro Park is Dublin top spot for football and fun activities. If you are looking for a place to hold fun corporate events, football competitions, school tours, or kids' birthday, Astro Park is the right place. They are all about bringing people together to join sport no matter the weather. And you know, in Ireland that is important. In two locations, in Tala and Coolock, you find different types of activities, including five-a-side football, bubble football, crazy race, and many more. Scan the QR code here on the screen or click on the link in the description of this video. Thank you so much, Kevin, to being here. And just so you know, Kevin is my coach. So
Thank you, Camilla.
I'm so happy you are here.
Me too. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm really happy. Just so you know, I think this chat would be really good if you, like sometimes every single member in my community, they think the English not really good enough to apply for jobs. So then we are talking today with the right person. So then please introduce yourself, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for having me, Camilla. So excited to be here, guys. And yeah, you gave me an amazing introduction already. So what can I add to that? My background is in education. I've worked exclusively with non-native English speakers for 4 or 5 years now. So for me, it's an honor to be here talking to you and talking to your community of marketers, because that's my specialty now. I'm addicted to marketing. I love it. So this is a perfect place for me to be. So yeah, I'm on LinkedIn now and working exclusively with people who are selling their services. English isn't their first language. And yeah, here to support, here to help however I can.
Lovely. I have my first question to you. So how come teaching immigrants during the pandemic inspired you to become a multilingual coach?
It's a natural transition, teaching into coaching. So teaching, you're working more on the language side of things, the grammar, the vocabulary, pronunciation, and coaching is more about giving people kind of actionable steps and strategies they can use to nearly help themselves on their journey. So for me, coaching was something I'm always passionate about. I love self-improvement. I love personal development. So coaching was the natural progression from teaching. And that's kind of happened during the pandemic when we were in lockdown.
I think it was a tough time, isn't it, for everyone?
Yeah, well, for me, it was great because I had a lot of time to think.
Okay.
And self-reflection is something I love. I'm a very reflective person. It's how I improve my skills, by thinking and just like being by myself and learning. And for me, that was the time for a lot of soul searching, the pandemic, So that was when I made the jump.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is interesting. And we know how important it is we have a support, so at this time. So I remember in one of our sessions when you support me, so then you told me sometimes in the past you weren't just teacher, you should be as well a psychologist. What about that?
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of people tell me. And first, I think it's just having someone to listen to and someone who you can share your problems to and not feel judged. Because for me, that was the biggest thing. Even when I was learning French in the past, I always felt judged. I was afraid to open my mouth. I was afraid to kind of make mistakes. And a lot of people who are learning English have that similar fear. It's like, I can't be the same person I am in my native language. So I would hear people come to me and say how they really felt scared to share their story, to make mistakes. And when I could talk to them and try and understand the problems they were facing, they said it felt like therapy because they could share in this safe space, make progress, and actually, yeah, it's super rewarding. That's why I love working with these people.
Wow, that is amazing. So How can immigrants in Ireland improve their communication skills to find better job opportunities from your perspective, from your thinking?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of people, when they come to Ireland, especially, they might fall into comfortable circles of speaking with natives, and like you, I see you nodding. Maybe it's happened to you when you got here too. So I think the first thing is to find like people you can be friends with or groups you can join where you're speaking English and you're immersing yourself in the language from day one. Turn your phone into English, and like don't just switch back into the comfortable default of your language, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, whatever it may be, and just start immersing yourself in the language. The more you can do that from day one, the faster you make progress. Language learning is a journey. It's not somewhere where you just go from point A to point B. You're always going to be learning, always going to be improving. And if you can get into that mindset of switching to the process instead of obsessing over the outcome of fluency or confidence or perfection, which doesn't exist, especially in a language, then you'll make progress, you'll enjoy the journey, and you'll build confidence so much faster.
Like I can remember lots of friends when I came here in Ireland. So I remember a few friends that lived with me. They basically were just in the bubble, like in the Brazilian bubble, just go to Brazilian parties and Brazilian food and, like Brazilian friends. That is no problem at all. The opposite. Brazilians are amazing. You have great fun with your Brazilian friends. But the point is, they came here to learn English.
Yeah.
And then I can be a little bit antisocial.
Antisocial
For them, because I was really focused in trying to make friends, local friends, or have a date or doing, so basically I was really focused in try to talk more English because it was so hard. Like, imagine in the middle of pandemic, you make new friends and you learn new language. So
exactly,
in pandemic,
that's
during
the
pandemic.
thing. During the pandemic, that was a hard time for a lot of people. And if you come to Ireland like a immigrant, come here to study in a school, go out, socialize, meet people, and then all of a sudden you're stuck at home and you can't do anything. It's nearly like a prison. It's very easy to go back into those comfortable places and your local language, your family. Like it's, I don't blame people for not getting out of their comfort zone more easily. During the pandemic, it was a difficult time. But I think you made a great decision to immerse yourself in the language. Like, look at the progress you've made in the last couple of years. Like, I asked you this question a couple of weeks back. Like, look at your journey. Go back to the start of it. Look at the struggles and the challenges and the successes you've had. It's incredible. It's inspiring. And
thank you.
Yeah, you can help a lot of people with how you approach this.
Yeah, but and just to be honest, like I don't really judge as well anyone that have it's challenge. Go out of your own bubble, because I know like here in Ireland we are struggling so many challenge.
Absolutely.
It's so many things, and then sometimes it's really hard, it's really tough, for you keep you have a healthy mindset. So then I completely understand, but the point it is, if you really want, if you think that is really important you succeed in your career, you have to try a little bit more, if it's possible, because if you don't do it, it take more long to go to the fluency, or in doing the networking that you're looking for, or that would be important for go for your next step.
Exactly. And having the right motivations and goals makes such a difference, because if you don't have clarity over where you want to go or what you want to achieve, you're going to get really confused. You're going to be overwhelmed, and you're just going to default back into bad behaviors and old patterns that don't serve you. So like you, having a clear focus of what you wanted to achieve, look how far that drove you. Look at what you did in the short time you were here, and look at you now hosting a podcast in English,
Thank you.
with a community of over 1,000 members. How incredible is that? So be proud, and like that's an inspiring way to empower other people who are on similar journeys. You can do it. Just take action. Get out of your head and into your body and like move,
Yeah, listen to him.
Yeah.
As a teacher and coach, you've probably come across loads of students who need help with their feelings and problems. What are the usual issues you notice, and can you tell us about a time you helped someone with one of these?
Yeah, great question. I think, first of all, I'd love to say what I love about working with multilingual people, non-native speakers, is the level of emotional intelligence they have. They're able to deal with their feelings and emotions and express them, and that's what makes them such a joy to work with, you know? But the problems that come from this sometimes are confidence. You know, people have a real lack of confidence, and it's because there's often a comparison between who they are in their native language and who they are in their native speaking identity is here and their language learning identity is down here, and there's like this gap, and that comparison is a trap. That's not, you can't compare yourself. I fell into that trap when I was learning French and I quit, you know. And I don't know, I see you nodding, maybe you've felt this too, but yeah, confidence is a big thing. So in terms of dealing with your emotions and your feelings, I always tell people separate the, you know, language learning identity from the native speaking identity. Stop comparing and just like wherever you are now, meet yourself here and take the next step.
Do you think that is possible? Separate that?
Absolutely.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've talked to a lot of people, and not just from me saying it, but like if you ask, I'll reference my girlfriend here really quickly, Aline, she's Brazilian, but she was saying the other day, I'm not the same as I am in Portuguese, I'm much cooler in English. That's what she said to me laughing, and I agree, she's different when she speaks Portuguese with her family, and she's a bit more serious, she's a bit more laid back in English, and she has a little bit of like different parts of her personality. So I think you can actually create another personality or create a separate kind of identity of how you want to show up. You know, you're still the same person in your heart, but, you know, you can't be exactly who you are in your native language. And I think if you try for that too much, you'll just end up causing yourself more blocks than anything else, you know?
Yeah. I think it's just, I agree with you. I think it's just really hard doing this.
Oh,
really,
absolutely.
really hard, because sometimes it's, you know, depend of the situation that you're facing. You can, I don't know, looks like it's so complicated and feel, who I am. It's like, what's happening here?
Who are any of us? Yeah, I'm the same. I have an identity crisis every day, you know, every week. But I think for people learning English, just to give them some quick tips, you know, like don't focus on the small things you can do every day, every week, every month, and zoom into the here and now. Because the more you look at like what you don't have, and like one of the biggest problems I see in people's mindsets is like something called the self-fulfilling prophecy. Have you ever heard of this? Where people might say, my English is bad, I hate my accent, blah, blah, blah. The more you say these things, the more you tell your brain and reinforce this story in your brain that this is true. So then the more your actions and behaviors follow suit. So if you tell people, or you say to me, like, I have no confidence, I feel really nervous when I'm in a meeting, I don't want to speak up. The next time you go to a meeting, this feeling is going to come back because you're telling your brain this all the time, So you have to learn to challenge these negative thoughts, replace them with more positive, constructive ones, and take small steps. And I hear a cat meowing somewhere. Take small steps in the right direction, to move forward, because otherwise you're going to be blocked, you're going to get stuck, and you're just going to end up feeling 10 times worse,
Yeah, makes sense, make completely sense.
Yeah.
So if you were an immigrant and you don't speak English as your first language,
of course,
and you think you're not ready to apply for a job because your English isn't good, so what do you want to tell them?
Well, first, if I was talking to this person like I'm talking to you right now, I would ask you a question. First of all, I would say, why do you think your English is not that good? Okay, and I would try to get to the root of the problem, because there could be a comparison trap there with, like, they're looking at natives, or looking at movies, or seeing people speaking perfect English that isn't the reality, and they're drawing themselves, like they're putting themselves here, And then I would say, what can you do today, this week, this month, to start getting to that level? Like, let's imagine 2 circles, and this is where you are now, this is where you want to be, okay? What can you do in the next few weeks or months to get that circle closer to this one until it becomes one circle? And now we stop looking at the outcome and we start looking at the process again. So usually it's little things. It's things like, can I work with someone once or twice a week on specific skills that will help me for my job? I'm not talking about taking general English classes now and just like improving your like vocabulary and grammar. I'm talking about working with a teacher who cares about like your goals. So you establish your goals with that teacher. So if it's for getting a job, for example, tell the teacher what you want to achieve. I want to be able to work in my area in 2 or 3 months. And then get them to design a program for you based around these goals. Okay, that's what I did for like a year when I started on LinkedIn. I worked with people, like I have one marketer in particular, but I won't get into names or anything like that now. But design a program around your goals, okay? If you're not able to afford to invest in yourself, do it yourself. Just create the program yourself.
How can people in a workplace with co-workers who don't speak English as their first language support them or not cause problem for them?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think it comes down to like cultural awareness and being like sensitive to like people who are non-native English speakers. One of the biggest things is obviously more empathetic people will get this naturally. Like they'll have a sense of how someone feels, and if someone is new, for example, in a job, they'll go and ask them how they're doing. A simple conversation like that, making someone feel more comfortable. So in terms of not making life harder, I would say slow down when speaking as well, like not be talking like super fast, like Irish people have a tendency to, just by even me, when I speak nowadays, I speak more slowly, more intentionally, because it's easier for me to be understood. And I think if they do that around people as well, it can make things a lot easier, because sometimes I'll talk to my clients or people who'll say, they speak too fast. I can't understand what they're saying. And I'm just like, just say, could you please like slow down a bit? It's okay to ask. Sometimes people aren't even aware.
Yeah.
And I think just making them aware, some people, if they are aware, it's awesome. And that's what I say, people who are more empathetic and more culturally aware will understand. Not everyone is, and that's okay. But yeah, that's one thing that people can do. Even a chat in the canteen, if you're in work with somebody and you're just at like small talk. This is one thing that I know that non-native speakers especially struggle with, because they don't get the concept of small talk. It's not everywhere. So having these conversations about the weekend, like how was your weekend, for example, that's not the real question. A lot of the times people will take it too literally and be like, oh, it was bad, I did nothing, and I stayed at home, and then the conversation can just die. Whereas like, how was your weekend is someone trying to connect with you. They're saying like, tell me something interesting, tell me something about your life, and I think having that awareness as well of like, if, for example, you or someone takes the question too literally, you find a way to keep the conversation going. You don't just let it die and make the other person feel bad for, answering your question.
Yeah.
So there's nuance to communication, and there's like subtext and these different things. So yeah, cultural understanding, awareness, empathy, these are all things that can help people feel more comfortable at work.
Yeah, it's so funny, because I remember in the first company that I had, my coworkers, they all were Irish.
Yeah.
And then, hiya, how are you?
Yeah.
And then, oh, I'm good, and you? My weekend was great. And like,
Yeah.
hello?
Exactly.
I think they just expected, I'm not too bad.
Yeah. So there
Full
is.
stop.
I know. Yeah,
And like and they are great. Like I love work with them. It's not because they don't want to talk to me. I think it's just like a habit.
Yeah.
Like it's just culturally.
There are cultural differences,
Yeah.
especially with Irish people. Some of them love to talk, and then other ones don't want to chat at all. So
Yeah,
it depends
yeah.
on the person you talk to, and it depends on
Yeah.
the mood they're in.
And I think it's good as well. For example, if you are here in Ireland, you try understand that as well.
Yeah.
For you never take that as a personal, because I think most part of the time it is not personal. Really,
Exactly.
it's just how it is.
Yeah.
It is what I learned. It is what it is.
It is what it is. And the more you can like try not to take things personally, like in life
Yeah.
in general, that's a great rule, for
Yeah.
like living a happier life. It's don't feel like it's a personal attack to you. You're being judged. Usually maybe someone's having a bad day. So if they ignore you, like think about it that way.
Yeah.
Don't make it about you.
Yeah, definitely. So I would like to ask you if you have something else that you'd like to look at your audience and then give to them an advice, a tip, or I don't know, share something else that you think can be valuable.
Well, I can share, like, even just is there a topic or something that you want me to talk about? Because I can absolutely share a million tips. I don't have a specific tip in mind.
Feel free for that.
Well, I suppose like for interviews, I know a lot of people are maybe looking to work in their area here. So some tips for interviews that I would say is like, one of my favorite tips is like how to sound more confident when you speak without, saying a word. Okay, I know it sounds quite interesting right now, but
Tell me more.
Yeah, so a lot of people, when they are nervous, they might hesitate, and they're like using filler words like and they're trying to fill the silence in a conversation. Whereas confident people, they'll pause, they'll hold the space in a conversation, and the difference between pausing and hesitating might be so small, But it's just like if you're in an interview and you take a second to answer the question, you don't jump to answer straight away. You take a second, you nod, you think about it, and then you answer. You're going to sound more confident and seem more confident because you're being thoughtful, you're not rushing, you're not filling the silence with ums and ahs, and you just come across as a much more confident speaker.
That is a great advice. And actually, I try put that in practice here at the podcast.
Yeah, honestly, slow down, because that's the thing. I think we talked about it once or twice before. Like sometimes we get excited, we're having a conversation, and we just want to talk faster and faster and faster, and then you nearly give the other person a little bit of anxiety and overwhelm. But if you slow down, and if you take a break and pause, even when I'm listening to my voice, ooh, it sounds quite nice, But no, I'm just like, slowing down. It's something I advocate to people all the time. Another quick tip for confidence is with your voice. When people are unsure and uncertain in a conversation, their voice will go higher. They'll be like, it'll go up like that. So if you want to sound more confident and you're giving an answer in an interview, like let's say you're using the STAR technique, where they say, tell me about a time you experienced this or did this, and you do your situation, what happened, your task, like what action you took, and then the result. And then at the end of the conversation, at the end of the sentence, you just use a downward tonality, and you finish your sentence going down. You sound more confident. And even if you're not confident, even if you're terrified on the inside, you just change your tonality, and you have a downward inflection, and you instantly sound more confident when you speak.
Wow, that is great.
Yeah. Anyone can do it. You can use it in any situation if you want to sound more confident, not just an interview.
Please, if you try that, please try that and put in the comment below how that sounds. And I think it would be really good if the person record themselves, isn't it?
Exactly.
So they can see how can they improve some, like some topics or some way that they say something else.
Absolutely. That's one thing I recommend people do all the time, record yourself. And like something I did when I was trying to get more comfortable on video on LinkedIn, I would use Loom and I would record myself. And the first few times I was like awkwardly touching my face. I was looking around the room, like trying to escape like the camera, And I tell my clients, like record yourself, like have a couple of videos, have a starting point. Because then after 1, 2, 5, 10 videos, we can look at the first video and the 10th video, and instantly you'll see the difference. You'll feel the difference.
Can you see, Kevin is an Irish guy, and then he's afraid as well about to record videos. So then if you feel like that, don't put yourself in a situation, no, it's because my English is not perfect. No, it's like, it's not just about English.
Yeah.
It is another skills. You put yourself in front of a camera and record yourself and be comfortable with that. It's so many things. So it's not just you.
No, it's definitely not.
He's facing that challenge as well.
Yeah, it is. I think it comes from that fear of like rejection or judgment. It's a universal fear. We all get it in different ways. So, just feel the fear and do the thing. And usually that's when the fear goes away. Yeah. When you don't do it, you give the fear the power. And the longer you wait, the more you think about it, the less you want to take the action. Analysis paralysis,
Wow. Yeah, that makes completely sense. So then let's go. We go for the second block. Before we go for the second block, isn't it? Today, you will be part of a fun game.
I love games.
Good. It is not Uno. Don't worry.
Good, yeah. Not a big Uno fan.
So, but before we go for the second block, please tell everyone how they can find you, talk about your project, or share something else that can be valuable for our audience.
Absolutely. Well, everyone can find me on LinkedIn, Kevin Dowling. Okay, so you'll see a guy with a blue profile picture, and drop me a follow or connect with me and tell me if you were at the podcast, if you were listening to the podcast rather. Connect with me. I think I might be connected with quite a few marketers in Ireland who are non-native speakers already. So if we are connected, say hi. I'm not scary. And I'm thinking about also doing a workshop in the next month or so exclusively for people who are non-native English speakers, marketers or professionals who are immigrants in Ireland trying to find work. And I'd love to spend a couple hours with you guys and help you with communication skills, interviews, any mindset blocks you might be feeling or experiencing. And I would love to help you out. So if you're interested in joining, send me a message on LinkedIn.
We are Marketing in Ireland community, helping immigrants, marketers, and students succeed in their career. Join our community. Is completely free and always will be free. If you're looking for exclusive content and the opportunity to meet me, if that is interesting, considering upgrading for a pro membership, details can be found in the description at this video. Thank you again, Astro Park, for sponsor this episode. Now, second block. So 3 most difficult words for a non-native English speaker. Will you answer or eat?
I think I will answer because this could help people as well, you know. So let me go for this one.
Good.
3. Okay, one of the ones I think that a lot of people struggle with is the word comfortable.
Comfortable?
Yeah, comfortable. Because people will say comfortable, and they will overpronounce this word.
Really?
And I'll tell you why really quickly. It's because of something called the schwa, and it's like a pronunciation feature in English, and it's the most common sound, and it makes people overpronounce so much vocabulary. The word passionate, people will overpronounce this word because it has a schwa. Comfortable, professional, they will overpronounce. Like, I'll tell you, just go home, or if you are at home, Google the schwa and look at the words that have it, okay? Because you're probably overpronouncing a lot of words. And in an interview, words like, if you want to say you're comfortable with a certain skill, you know, when you overpronounce or you mess up that word, it can sound like, you know, it can be a bit of a problem. So that's one word, and there's a whole feature behind it. So there's a lot of other words too. You look scared now. You're like, oh no, I don't know this thing.
I really don't know.
Yeah, but that's super important. So development, that's another word.
Development. It's not easy. Development.
Yeah. People will misplace the stress. So development, it's on the second syllable.
Development.
Development, yeah.
Development.
Yeah, so comfortable, development. There's so many words that it could be. I'm trying to think of a third one that's actually useful now. Let me ask you a question. What kind of words do you struggle with, like in terms of like business pronunciation? Like,
okay, I say scroll, but it's not.
But it's for like an interview, like
for an interview.
Yeah, like.
Corporate.
Corporate.
I think corporate for me it's tricky.
You pronounced it correctly.
But I had your help with that.
Yeah. But that's another thing. I'd say for...
I was sending audios to him. Please, how can I say this word?
Yeah. Well, no, I would say in general, if you're struggling with an interview, like look up the kind of vocabulary that you need to use in the interview. Like you might have to talk about your experience, your strengths, your weaknesses. Write out a couple of scripts.
Determined.
Determined.
Before, is determined or determined?
Yeah, see, it's like in Brazil, you might pronounce every letter, but in English, we cut a lot of letters and we get rid of them. So determined.
I give up.
I'll tell you why. I know the rule. No, I won't tell. I'm getting into English teacher mode right now. But yeah, I would say any verbs that finish in ed, especially if you're Brazilian. Okay, if there's a lot of Brazilians here, if a verb finishes in ed, this is where you need to check because there's 3 different pronunciations of these verbs.
We have as well a lot of members, Indian members. So there are any specifically words that Indians they normally...
I know the V sound is hard for Indians. So I think just with practice, I would say one of the best things you can do is go and look at a speaker or listen to a speaker who has a nice accent, who you want to admire, and shadow them and just like repeat what they say and have a little bit of practice because your voice, it's like mechanical and you'll start to adjust and adapt and improve that way, you know?
Okay. Yeah, determined.
You're super determined.
I'm determined. Second question. You should be determined now. As an Irishman who has helped immigrants, do you think Ireland is in the corporate word is really inclusive? Will you answer or eat?
I think I'll eat this one, just not to be too controversial on this podcast, you know?
I do love that, but close your eyes.
Eyes closed, mouth open. Tell me when.
You don't look.
Give me a countdown like a 3, 2, 1, just so I know when it's coming.
Okay, I put that in your hands. Okay.
All right, great.
No. You have a
wait, what is it? A fork?
Yeah.
Which side is the front of the fork?
The front. Yeah.
Which? Okay, so it's the front. I have it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can I go?
Yeah. No.
Up, down, left, right.
Yeah, go.
Oh. Oh, sorry. I hit the fork off the table and then I opened my eyes. I didn't look at the food.
Okay, no, now you can look at the food. What do you think is that? Have you had that before?
Oh, God. It's like... First I thought it was like salmon. Like smoked salmon. You know when you eat like salmon raw?
Uh-huh.
And I like salmon.
What do you like that?
Sorry, I'm trying to like swallow the food so before I talk just to be... Oh my God.
Polite.
Mango, right?
No?
What the hell is that?
Jackfruit.
Jackfruit?
Uh-huh.
It's not bad.
I know.
I've always avoided it, like when I see it in the supermarket, because I'm like, what the hell is that in the tin? It's always in a tin of jackfruit, and they put it on pizza,
well,
right?
Here is like that. My country, not really. My
I
country
quite like it. I think I'm converted. At first, the texture was strange. I was like,
jackfruit.
yeah, I like it.
Cool.
I would have it again. Not now, maybe later.
Before we move on the third block with exclusive content, I'd like to say thank you, Astro Park, for sponsoring this episode. Astro Park is Dublin's top spot for football and fun activities. If you are looking for a place to hold fun corporate events, football competitions, school tours, or kids' birthday, Astro Park is the right place. That is all about bringing people together to enjoy sport no matter the weather. With 2 locations in Tala and Kullock, you will find different types of activities, including 5-a-side football, bubble football, I did that, was really good, craze race, and many more. Scan the QR code here on the screen or click on the link in the description for this video to find out more. A special thank you to SWA, to assisting students in finding the best university, and Dagda Visual for their support in recording this podcast. So if you are looking for a digital marketing service, talk to them. Let's move on to the third block with exclusive content for members who have signed up to Pro membership. For more details, the link is in the description in this video. You know what you have in this third block. Kevin, you answer. Are the common English mistakes that no native immigrants make? No native English make that can negatively impact job interviews? How can they be avoided? Second question, are the common English mistake? Second question, what ways can immigrants feel more confident using English at work besides using tools? So that will be the questions that he answer in the third block. Okay, if you are a Pro member, see you there. Up next, exclusive content for Pro members. Join now to access all our special content and workshops. Just become a Pro member, scan the QR code. See you there!